lifestyle has caught fire, and we talk about the rewards and challenges of it. This is the Wandering Worker Podcast with Matt Lloyd.
Welcome to the Wandering Worker Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Lloyd. The Wandering Worker Podcast is powered by Magic Apple Technology, where we've been saving good businesses from bad phone systems since 2008. Whether you're tuning in from the comfort of your home office, a cafe on the corner, or exploring a new corner of the world, this podcast is your compass to navigate the ever-evolving landscape of remote work. We'll uncover invaluable insights, share personal stories, and connect with experts who have mastered the art of wandering while working. Today, my guest is Alex Moore with Magic Apple Technology, another one of our valued teammates. Alex is our project manager extraordinaire. Thank you for being on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So we start this off with a little fun 5 questions. Don't think too hard on it, just rapid fire. So question 1, what have you created that you're most proud of? I know what this will be.
Professionally or personally?
Just whatever comes to mind first.
I'd say my musical endeavors.
Your musical endeavors. Tell us the name of your band because it is an awesome name.
Suck Face.
Suck Face. And it is so fun to hear. Where can they hear some of your music, man?
Anywhere that you stream music, I guess.
That's right. Spotify, you can get it on there. You've got like, half a dozen songs out, if not more. Mm-hmm. And they're all kind of a weird mix of punk and slow and fast and rocky and melodic.
Basically how I'm feeling like that month.
Yeah. You have a couple about your cat too, don't you? When there's a song about your cat?
Yeah, there's like a line or two about him. Yeah.
All right, here's question 2. In your group of friends, what role do you play?
That's an interesting question.
I can see you as like the calming person, but then again, maybe not.
No. I'd say people probably consider me like the intense one.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's cool. That's definitely not your way. Well, I'll take that back. You're kind of intense around here too.
Like I'd say intense, but also maybe just like introspective.
Okay, that makes sense.
Just kind of evaluating the scene and just thinking to myself, and then I'll burst out.
Thinker. You're a thinker, not a speaker. I get it. What's on your bucket list this year?
Well, I just got back from a trip to Seattle, so that was, one of the things that I was looking to accomplish this year. I'd say for the remainder, just kind of continuing to grow my savings account.
Yeah.
I'm sort of at that age that it's my number one priority.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Put a little cash back.
Yeah. A little bit of cash back.
I got you. All right. Question 3. If you lost all of your possessions but one, what would you want it to be?
My external hard drive.
Your external hard drive. Why is that?
I've given this thought so many times, and if the house was on fire, I would run in. That's what I would grab.
The one thing. It's got all your music. It's got everything on it.
Yeah, everything that I've created, and I feel like it's the best expression of myself. It's like an extension of that question would be, what would you want to give someone that could tell them what you were all about, and that's I guess what it would be.
There's that introspective piece we were talking about earlier.
Either that or my drum kit. Those are my two
things,
valuable things. Yeah.
I got you. 4, what would you like? What do you like most about your family?
I'd say the fact that we all stay in touch with one another. Not every person in this world is fortunate enough to have that. The connection with a family, but each member of their family for that matter. So I'd say, just that, having one another.
Nice. Question 5 and the last question. Who are some of your heroes?
There's countless musicians and bands that I look up to.
Who's the one that just pops to your head first? First one.
Oh gosh. I'll just go.
Is it a drummer?
I'll just go with you for hiring me for this job.
Yeah, you good?
Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Good answer.
Thank you. We can talk about my pay later.
Yeah. So, if you don't mind, just take a minute or two to talk about and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you. What's important? What do we need to know about you, Alex?
I am 30 years young, and
Yes.
I'm a project manager here at Magic Apple. And I started as an inside sales representative, and I've had a few other kind of more professional jobs under my belt, but this one kind of feels, I guess, the most intense, if you will, just 9 to 5, 8 to 5, whatever. But yeah, day-to-day project management, kind of just onboarding our new customers and working with them to make sure that they're getting exactly what they need.
Right. So what led you to Magic Apple? I mean, where were you before, and how did you end up here?
I guess it was sort of interesting. COVID had happened, and then I was furloughed from my job. I was just working at like a burger joint in town, and just kind of riding that wave of unemployment, I guess. Just it was really tricky to find a job,
Yeah.
with COVID going on and whatnot. And then actually got on Indeed and came across Magic
That's
Apple.
right. We did find you through Indeed. I remember that.
And I'd never done like sales, so applying to something that was marked as a sales position was a little maybe concerning to me at the time, but just reading through, the description and what the company was all about, it seemed like a fitting place for myself.
Yeah, you when we hired you, it was 2 other people at the same time, and you're the only one left standing.
Well, it takes a lot to break me down.
There you go. We'll keep trying. So what are some challenges you've faced in your career thus far?
Just kind of spanning career-wise.
Yeah.
I'd say just how competitive it is. That's probably the number one thing. I took all of the necessary steps, completed school, got my degree, and, applied to jobs, did this and that. But even in, following that step-by-step process, it can still be very difficult to land something and something that like you wouldn't mind going to every single day and working. I mean, that's something that one has to consider as well. But yeah, I'd say just like the competitive nature of it all, especially in my age group, there's just tons of people that, all want a desk job, and they want the ability to work remotely. They want this salary, and they all have a degree to show for it. So it can be tricky.
Yeah, absolutely. So where do you see yourself? So, and this is one of those silly, interview questions, but 5 years from now, not only professionally, but just as a person, where do you see yourself in life 5 years from now?
Hopefully owning a home. That's definitely on my 5-year goal list. Professionally speaking, I'd say just, even more stability and just kind of ease with what I'm doing, comfort, confidence in what I'm doing, confidence in the people that, I'm working next to day to day. Yeah.
Okay. And earlier you had mentioned, remote work, and that's what we're all about here at the Wandering Worker. And so, before you came to Magic Apple, had you worked remotely anywhere before?
No.
What was and when you really came here, we weren't working remote that much in the beginning when you started here either. It wasn't really till COVID hit strong here that we were like, all right, everybody, we're gonna do this. And then since then, we've kind of really leaned into that aspect of it. How has that been for you? How has that transition been to be able to work from home or come up to the office and have the freedom to do either?
It was, if you remember, like I was hired on at a very interesting time because it was right at that point that people were allowed to go back into the world and kind of continue their day to day. I mean, I remember wearing a mask even to my interview with you. It was just, we're still right on the brink of, everything being okay, I guess. But yeah, I guess to answer your question, I think I chose to work here as much as I could, like in the office, that is. I find myself quicker to learn things, just being surrounded by a bunch of people that can help train me, just having that, in-person training.
Yeah.
But yeah, as time progressed, I think it was given to me that I could start working remotely on Fridays. And that was, really, really nice for me. Just kind of the tools that Magic Apple has to offer made it, entirely possible and very simple for that matter.
Yeah.
To be able to work remotely and still communicate with, my colleagues and customers. So,
how many days do you work remote now?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was getting at. Fast forward, I'm pretty much like, I'd say,
This is the first time you've been in the office for in a week or so, right?
Yeah, 4 days a week. I try and come in on Mondays. It kind of like, gears me up, just kind of kicks me back into gear coming from a weekend of fun.
So for you, a hybrid type workforce, you do have a place to go, if you need to, or feel like you need to get, it's a positive. That's a good thing for you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, frankly, who knows what the future holds, but down the line, I mean, the fact that that I have worked remotely now, it's going to be hard to
get. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I could compare it to, there was a time in my life that I lived alone and now I live with roommates. So it's like, and they might watch this and they'll love this.
Yeah. But, you're like, gosh, I wish I lived alone still.
No, well, I mean, that's sort of what I'm getting at. It's like you get a taste of that luxury, I guess. And it really is a luxury being able to work remotely. I mean, it's just, there are countless things. Traffic, don't have to deal with it. I mean, I drove into the office actually, I think it was the beginning of last week, and it rained that day. So
in Nashville, if it rains, if you don't know, that means add an hour to your drive.
Yeah, it was
even if it's a mile down the road.
It's ridiculous, but
gotcha. So you're enjoying it. It's a positive thing for you. What are some downsides to it? What do you perceive to be a downside of it, or could be a downside? I mean, really, just not many, frankly, because I haven't run into many issues myself. I think the only issue I've maybe run into was like a glitch in our home internet. Right. So data, besides like a technical issue, do you see a downside? So like, do you feel like at Magic Apple, and we'll use this as an example because we both work there, we both understand that place. Do you feel like that there's been a loss in culture or a lack of any of those type things since we've been more remote?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, yeah, it's great having everyone in the office and, people shouting at each other, hey, what's the answer to this? What's the answer to that? Camaraderie. But, we still call each other just as much every day internally on the phone. And, we have our weekly meetings where that's on Google Meet. Mm-hmm. So we can see everyone's face and, we have our quarterly parties here at Magic Apple. So, I mean, I don't think that the culture aspect of it all is lost by working remotely. And, to continue my comment on the internet thing, I mean, that's just, that's even something that I could run into working here in the office.
Sure.
Everyone's running on an internet circuit. You don't know what's going to happen, but, all in all, very little problems, working remotely for myself, at least.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the trend with a lot of the people that I work with too. I mean, the soft phone application is the what I run on my personal cell phone, and just when I onboard customers, I explain it to them, just how I use it, how they would benefit from using it, and then they all have my contact information. What am I trying to say? I urge them to get in touch with me if there is an issue, the following weeks after the installation, before I might pass them on to our support team. And I mean, really, like, no one really reaches out. Everyone's happy with how it works.
So it kind of leads me into my next question. Tell me a little bit about your day to day. Kind of walk me through what it is you do at Magic Apple, how you work with your customers, that kind of stuff.
Day to day, and this is sort of, something that I would like to discuss too with regard to remote. The role that I do can be done remotely very easily. Basically, just a lot of customer communication through email, phone calls. It's just a lot of organization, documentation,
and
working
you are
in our CRM.
Very organized person.
It kills me if I'm not.
I know. That's one of the things I love about you, because you are so organized. I never have to wonder what's going on.
It's certainly for the sake of the company, but it's also just it's this thing in my brain that it's like, if I don't do it this way,
maybe a little OCD,
the rest of the week is ruined and I won't stop thinking about it. But, so just a lot of, note taking, and, I created a spreadsheet for myself of all of the new customers that we sign on, and just kind of indicated the exact phase that they're at within the project. And, it's pretty streamlined.
Yeah. So I would say we're pretty process driven organization. We've got a step-by-step process for pretty much everything we do. Mm-hmm. And you've been a big part of that. Matter of fact, you kind of head up our processes stuff and do the reviews quarterly and kind of look into all that. So, which we appreciate. So with all the new customers we're onboarding and all that kind of stuff, how many new customers, when they talk about working remotely and soft phones, how has that changed, or has it changed since you've been in that role? Have you seen more? Has it been constant? Is it a regular thing that you're dealing with? What does that look like?
I think that, again, it was such an interesting time that I was signed on. There were still some, residual effect or what have you from COVID of just, people maybe still working remotely. They needed a solution that worked for them. Mm-hmm. But then as time, I've been here for a little over 2 years now. So as time has gone on, there was maybe, a slump where it wasn't as popular as it was when I first started. But I mean, pretty much every customer that I sign on now, through the project onboarding process, it's just, they want a soft phone.
Yeah. Whether
it be the mobile version or the desktop. And, I'm happy to give it to them because I want them to use it. It's great.
So, and are you seeing more and more people starting to trend to work remotely, or are you seeing it just, they want that flexibility to be able to work wherever they are, not so much be able to just work from home?
For me, I guess it's hard to say. I think that my translation of everything is that maybe more people are starting to work remotely. I think that that's a fact. But I think that, especially through, I feel like I keep bringing up COVID, but it was such a big thing that happened.
That's what kickstarted all this stuff, right?
Yeah, it kickstarted this, but it even, I mean, yes, it impacted tons of businesses for sure, but I mean, especially something like a telecommunications company, people need their means of communication. But Yeah, the soft phone. my brain just went dead on me.
It happens.
The soft phone app, I guess, like, I don't know. I would just urge everyone to use it, basically.
So, I mean, so of the tools that you see that people talk about and everything, as far as a communication standpoint, being able to use the soft phone app is the thing that enables the most. It's one of the more important tools for them to be able to work remotely correctly and still be collaborative, because
Yes.
it does have, the texting, it has the messaging between individuals, it's got all that kind of stuff already built into it on one platform. You just go in and do it. It's got video available, so there's a lot of that kind of stuff on it. What changes do you think we might see coming in the idea of working remotely? What do you see? Is there a trend that you're starting to see with all these new customers you're onboarding, and what kind of things do you think we might see coming in the next few years?
Yeah, and I think you've sparked the comment that I wanted to say. I think people realize that working remotely is possible. I think that everyone's always just gone to a building, they've worked their 9 to 5, and that was that. And, the idea of working remotely was pretty foreign for a while. But, in my generation, I feel like that voice has been made, or that platform has been established to work remotely. So I'd say that more people are just open to the idea of it. It depends on the business. And something I had said earlier was, it depends on the role too. There are certain roles within a company that you can work remotely, and I would hope that as we continue to progress, as a society, let alone in the telecommunications world, that people would recognize, like, oh, this person doesn't actually have to come into the office every day if they don't want. It just comes down to the individual. Like, you got to be responsible. You got to be respectful to your colleagues, wake up and do your work. And, it's pretty clear if someone's doing their work or not. You'd be able to tell within, a small amount of time.
Yeah, we've talked about this with other guests, that, hiring the right people, hire adults that can get themselves up in the morning and go to work and get that work done. Do you find yourself to be more productive or less productive when you work from the house?
I would say I might be an anomaly. Like, I'd say I work pretty well at an office or at my house.
So for you, there isn't a big difference there.
Yeah, for me, there's not a huge difference. But that's still to your point. Maybe it's just that I can work just as efficiently at home as opposed to the office.
Yeah, because we really haven't had anybody say, "Oh, I'm way less productive at home."
Mm-hmm.
Now, I might understand if you had, like, all right, I've got 4 kids, all in the age of 5, which, well, I guess that would be possible. I don't know. It maybe
Impressive.
Impressive. And your house is a total mess and a wreck, and I can see that. But I mean, if that's not the case, we haven't really heard anybody say, "Oh, I'm way less productive when I work from home." It's always I enjoy working from home. I'm more productive. I get up and get stuff done. Yeah, that kind of stuff. So we talked about kind of the future. We talked a little bit about what are some steps if a company were to call you, that we sign them up, they're talking to you, and they're like, "Alec, we really want to move people remote. What are some steps we need to be taking, both from a technology standpoint, and then what other advice would you give somebody looking to move remote and maybe go hybrid, where they're half remote and half in the office? What are some things you would tell them as things to look out for?"
I guess for a company considering, sending their employees to just work remotely, is that the first question? Yeah. You can't really know how it's all going to work, how it's all going to go down, what the result will be until you actually do it. I think you'll get a clear understanding of your good employees and your bad ones. It's kind of a harsh interpretation of it, but I sort of look at it that way sometimes. But, just the steps to take, or some things to take into consideration rather, really it just kind of, technologically speaking, it just comes down to making sure that they have a pretty stable internet connection at home, that they have, what they need to accomplish their job at home, whether that be a computer, a notebook that, who knows what their day-to-day duties are.
Sure,
but,
yeah.
But yeah, just kind of, with regard to the soft phone application, the only thing I need is the credentials to have that app on my phone, which Magic Apple sets all that up for you.
Yeah.
Takes that headache away. And then I just have my internet connection at home, which also my phone runs off data too. So,
Yeah.
Even if you don't have a good Wi-Fi connection, you can still function off that mobile device.
Yeah, so it's just kind of planning ahead, making sure you've got, those questions answered, how you're going to communicate internally, what does that look like, how you're going to run your meetings, all that kind of stuff. So I think that's, and then also backing it with some kind of culture there to have that in place. I agree wholeheartedly. And so, listen, before I wrap up, I just want to say thank you for being on the show today. I kind of bullied you into it at the last minute, and I appreciate you doing it for me. And thank you for sharing what you do and your expertise. And I want everybody to check out Suckface when they get an opportunity and rate it highly. So again, thank you for being on the show, man. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And that is. That's going to be it for this episode of The Wandering Worker. We hope you've enjoyed hearing from our guest, Alex, today. Be sure to mark your calendar for our next episode. We will continue to deep dive into the world of The Wandering Worker. We'd also like to thank our sponsor, Magic Apple, for bringing you this episode today. If you're not thrilled with your business phone system or work from home experience, give us a shout. We've been helping people just like you since 2008. I am Matt Lloyd. Till next time, enjoy your week.